Hi everybody, I'm glad you're here today. Hope you're enjoying your Friday. Let me get my chat up for YouTube real quick. I think we'll be ready. Okay, this is probably going to be the last video I do with some retired things. I'm also doing, let's see, one card that's got the Ornate Garden Suite. That is something that's going to be in the new annual catalog, but you can also get that now. So I want to be able to make a card with that. I've been making a lot of cards with this. If you've been watching any of my videos on YouTube, you've seen them. I actually just posted one yesterday. Let's see, I want to make sure I've got everything. Okay, want to do some house cleaning, not cleaning, but let you know what's going on with YouTube. There are a few little instructions. If you want to comment, please do. I will try my best to look at them and answer your questions as we go, because I've got two screens to look at. I've got one over here and one right here. My Facebook one's a lot easier to do, but YouTube, I cannot reply to these chats right after the video. If it's over, I can reply while it's going on, of course. But what I'll do, if you have a question, I can read them, and I will put a comment in the regular comment section of the video, because the recorded version will pop up as soon as this is over, and I'll pin the answers to the top so you can go back and find them there. So I'm ready to get going. You guys all ready for the weekend? It's going to be raining here, and I see a like already. Hi, Dana. Yeah, I'm ready for the weekend too. It's supposed to rain a lot, but at least it's warmer. Hopefully it won't rain all day tomorrow. I think Sunday's supposed to be the worst. Here in Indiana, that is. Okay, let's go ahead and cover a couple things here. I want to make sure you know about the paper pumpkin. This, I don't know if you've heard, there's I can't think of words today, but there is a movement going along during the pandemic called Share Sunshine. And Stampin' Up, to stay with the times, has made a paper pumpkin kit to share the sunshine. And there is a video that's got our CEO, Sarah, on it, and she explains why they did this kit, and she also helped make it. And I've got a link to that video in the video description if you want to see that when the live's over. But you'll need to subscribe to that by June 10th, and you might want to do that as soon as possible. The in-color one, first time this has ever happened that I can remember, I think it's been going on for 7 years, Paper Pumpkin, they sold out before the deadline to sign up on the kits. It was so popular. So I have a funny feeling this one's going to be popular too. So if you want to subscribe, there's a link below in the video description to subscribe to my Paper Pumpkin. And like I said, there is one to the video where Sarah talks about the kit. And this is this makes me remember I'm not going to be able to do a Facebook Live next Friday. If you want to see a Facebook Live and you're a USA customer, you can order from me using the host code that's listed there, and it's also in the bottom left corner of the screen when I change screens again. But it's KPVZ7UQX, and place the order by next Thursday, and you'll get an invite to our party. Some of you have gone to some of our online parties. That's the group of us there pictured. We have so much fun doing these, and we're doing this a little different. If you place an order and use that host code. Now, if your order is over $150, or 150 or more, do not use that host code. I want you to be able to get the Stampin' rewards from Stampin' Up, and you'll still be able to come to the party for free. And I'll send you an invite as soon as the group page is ready. We have a lot of fun. It's going to be 1 p.m. to 8 p.m., and we'll each do about an hour live. So I think we are ready to start stamping. The first one I'm going to do, if you saw the title picture I had up there at first, you saw the cards I'm making. I'm going to be using these, get a hold of these so they don't fall apart, Peaceful Poppies elements. Now the bundle, the two bundles that are in this suite are going to be in the new catalog, thankfully, but these elements are retiring. So if you like these, you'll want to get these right away, and they are still available. I checked before I came on today. But you get 2 sheets of these. These are nice, thick. See, I've already taken a couple of them out, but I want to pop them back in so you can see what they look like. They're nice, thick die cuts. So you can pop them up with dimensionals. There's so many different things you can do with these. And it also comes with 2 sheets of this. You can tell I'm using some of these. I'm going to be using this banner right here. So we'll go ahead and pop that out so it's all ready. But I love, hopefully you can see this. I'll try and get it in light. See that black embossed line across the border? Makes it really neat and special. So that's all I'm using with that sheet. Then there's a vellum sheet. You can see the white embossing on those. And I need, let me grab my card. I just made this one this morning. Okay, we're going to use this one here. And there's a little small flower here. I'm going to use one of those. Actually, I'm going to use this one. And I need one of these leaves. Now, one thing I found out, some of these, if they have a stem at the bottom, you want to be super careful and probably take that one off first. The first time I took this one off, I ended up ripping that little stem, but it's not that big a deal because it's going to be tucked into my card anyway. And then we've got some single leaves here. I want a little one and a medium one. The neat thing about these elements is how quick you can get a card together. And I'm using these elements to show you some neat things you can do with them. These are images on watercolor paper, and they're also embossed with white. It's a little hard to see. You can probably see the shimmer a little bit. And I'm going to be using this flower here, and you get 2 sheets of this too. So all the sheets I showed you, you get 2 of each. Can't remember the price. I forgot to look that up. Meant to do that. It's hard to remember everything, especially when you're doing 3 different cards in a video. With my regular videos, my recorded ones, I just do one at a time. Okay, I'm going to show you some neat things you can do with these elements. Now this one, I'm going to watercolor on it, and that embossing is going to be resisted. So I'm going to grab my Poppy Parade and use that here. I'm going to go ahead and squeeze that because I'm running out of ink, it looks like. You squeeze this together, and then it gets a nice pool of ink. I got a little bit more. Or you can use a refill. Looks like that's what I ended up doing with this one. Used a refill. Take an aqua painter. Now these aqua painters are sold out and they retired, but don't worry, when the new catalog starts June 3rd, we've got something called water painters. I'm excited about these. When you got aqua painters, this is the small tip, really it's more of a medium-sized tip, and you got a larger tip. So you got 2 of these for $17. Well, the water painters, you're going to get 3 water painters for $12. You're saving $5. You're getting an extra brush. You get a fine tip, a medium tip, and a flat large tip. I love that we're getting a flat large one. So I'm excited about those. I can't wait till I can get those. That wasn't part of our pre-order, so I don't have them yet. So and also you'll want a piece of paper towel. You can pick up some of this. I want to squeeze that and make sure it's wet because I could tell it was getting a little dry on me. There we go. Because I want a watercolor wash look on this. And I'm using my silicone mat just to protect my workspace. I don't care if that gets a little wet. But see how doesn't that look like magic? You can still see that white. And I want to make it a little blotchy. I don't want it to be just a perfect watercolor. So I'm going to make some few blotches here. Should have brought my heat tool over here because that would have dried it a little quicker, but it'll dry pretty quick. So I'll kind of put that over here to the side. So isn't that neat? I love that. A lot of fun. And you can also just sponge ink on there. You don't have to watercolor. Then when you're done, you just squeeze a little bit of water and keep brushing this on your paper towel until there's no more ink showing. And then it's ready to go for your next color. I'm going to go ahead and dry that off too. Now that's all the watercoloring I'm doing this time. I think I'm going to go ahead and leave this out because you might be able, yeah, I think you can't see these. Now we could, oops, they're popping everywhere. We could just put these on like vellum. Don't color them or anything. Oh, my chat went away on YouTube. Hold on, guys. There we go. I do have some people. Sorry, guys. Hi, Pamela and Catherine. And oh, Pamela. Hi, Catherine. Oh, you know a few people. That's cool. Okay. I want to make sure I see everybody's comments. Okay, so what I'm going to do, since I don't want these just to stay white, I'm going to use, it's a technique called stained glass. I'm going to turn these over. And the way you know you've got the right side, you probably won't be able to tell here in the light. Well, I guess you can a little bit. You can kind of see how the white is shimmering a little bit because it's embossed. The other side is flat looking. You don't see the white shining at all. So you know that's the back. The reason I'm turning it over is because I'm going to use Stampin' Blends. And with these being alcohol based, they actually will dye that embossing. So we don't want that. I want that to stay white. So we're going to turn this over. Now you can use regular Stampin' Right markers like this one. But I want to show you why I didn't do that. If you look, hopefully you can see this. It's a little blotchy looking. I colored the Blackberry Bliss Stampin' Right marker on here. I don't think it's showing up very well. But I've got some little, well, there, maybe a little bit. You can kind of see up here on the top petal, it's a little blotchy. Well, if you use your Stampin' Blends, let's see, I want to do, let's see, which one did I do? It doesn't really matter. I'm going to use my dark Blackberry Bliss. I'm going to color over here, and it doesn't matter that I'm coloring over those whites since I'm coloring on the back. But I don't want to go outside the outer lines, of course. But this is doing a nice, smooth covering. It's not going to have those blotches. So that's why I like using the blends with this. But you can definitely use your Stampin' Right markers. You just have to wait till it dries, maybe add a little bit more and try to get it to look a little smooth. You can work with it, but it takes a while. Okay, that looks pretty good. And these dry a lot faster. So this one, I'm going to use Flirty Flamingo. I'm using the colors that come in the, make sure I've got that right. Yes. The Peaceful Poppies Designer Series paper that is retiring. I wanted to use the colors in that. Thankfully, like I said, the bundles that are in the suite are staying, but everything else is retiring. I think maybe the ribbon, I think the ribbon is coming back. But that gorgeous Designer Series paper is gone. I'm going to miss that. So that one's in Flirty Flamingo. And I'm using the dark on all of these. I wanted the dark to show up. Now, if you want a more, a softer look, there we go. I thought that looked wrong. I don't think I turned my leaves over. Nope, I didn't. Now I'm going to use my dark old olive. But the light one would give a softer look. It just depends on what look you're going for. I'm doing a very light. I'm getting out of lines just a little bit, but I don't think that matters. There we go. My lighting. There we go. Being at an angle with the lights, sometimes it's hard to tell if you're coloring right. So I've got that one ready to go. It doesn't take that long to color these. And if you wanted to color the whole thing, you could have it so there wasn't a vellum, clear vellum border. You could color the whole thing if you wanted to. But I opted to just do the inside. Now, if you wanted to have some shading, you could go back over it and make it a little darker. But I just decided to leave them all the same. So we've got that one ready to go, so you can see how they're colored now. And actually, it might be better to put them on white cardstock. You can see them a little bit better. There we go. So isn't that neat how they're all colored? I like that a lot. Okay, now this is a piece of Whisper White. It's 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to put on this beautiful Peaceful Poppies Designer Series paper. This is 4 by 2. Let me grab my snail here. I'm going to get this out of the way because I don't like glue on it. I'm going to put this across here and just going to go right along the bottom. I want to make sure those flowers are going the right direction. If you ever do put them upside down, then you can just switch, do a mirror version, and you could have it up here and put the flowers here. But that, I got it on there right. Now I'm going to grab this banner. Let's put some, there's very little stamping with this one. We are going to stamp a greeting. And I decided where the inner parts of this banner are, that's what I'm going to line the top edge of the Designer Series paper with. Hopefully I'm getting that. There we go. So that's going to go on just like so. I'm going to go ahead, let's see. No, let's go ahead and put the flowers on first. I'm going to pop this one up with a dimensional. First, I'm going to lay them all down and see, make sure I'm getting them in where I want them. I always like to do this because it goes a lot easier when you go to put it together. So I had them like that. I put this leaf, let's see here, going this way, around that way, and then put these. Oop, where did my little one go? I knew that would happen. That's the one thing when you use vellum, sometimes it's hard to see. Oh well, if we don't get the second one, we'll be fine. I may not have popped one out now that I think about it. Let me find my elements. If you see it, comment. Oh, I didn't do a little one. Oh, maybe I did. That's weird. I can't find them. We'll hurry up and do another one quick. It won't take long. I'm sure if you've ever lost anything, when you go and colored in, oh, I did the other tip. That's okay. This works too. I'm doing the blunt tip with this one. As soon as I get this done, I know I'm going to find the other one. That's the way it always happens. And that's going to go there. So that looks pretty good. This is going to get popped up with a dimensional. So I'm going to grab the dimensionals. Isn't that neat? It dried really quick, so I didn't have to have my heat tool. That's one nice thing about the watercolor paper. It tends to dry a little quicker. Get that paper backing off. I'm going to lay this about right here. I'm going to move these out of the way because I do not want to put a dimensional on them. Okay, so now we've got that. I'd like doing that with a dimensional because now I can slide these underneath. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab, or I should take these out of the box. I'm going to grab glue dots. With vellum, you want to put it where you're not going to see them. So in this white center here, that's where I'm going to put a glue dot. Just kind of pop that right on top. And that one glue dot's going to hold it in with no problem. So put that there. There's another white center with this one. Tuck it in right here. And with the leaves, I decided just to put one here near the bottom. It's going to go on about right there. It's about right here. I did the stems a little too narrow for it, so I put it up here a little bit. With the vellum, to kind of put your fingernail underneath the glue dot to help it come up, because it is a little frail, and you don't want to have it break on you. Now, I want this to be tucked underneath this, so that's another nice thing, having the glue dot in the center. I can lift this up and tuck this underneath a little bit. I don't want it to go over too much. It's okay if it goes over the white just a little bit, because I'm going to have this on a card base, so that should work. Do the same thing with this one. Put it near the bottom. I'm going to tuck it underneath this purple one, if I can get my finger underneath it. There we go. That looks good. I kind of like the black behind that too. It's pretty. Doesn't have to be under white. And I'm going to put this one under here like so. There we go. Isn't that pretty? Oops. I really like those elements a lot. Okay, rip some of this off so it's out of my way. Grab my paper, my card base. This is a 5.5 by 8.5 piece of Poppy Parade. We're going to go ahead and fold it in half. Grab my bone folder. Actually, I think I want to do that greeting first. Let me get this out of the way. I knew it. I just saw that leaf fly across my table. It was on that sheet. That's funny. Okay. One thing I've told on a few of my videos, in case you haven't seen it, our Stampin' Pierce mat is now gone. It sold out. But what you can use instead is the Stamparatus foam mat. This comes automatically with the Stamparatus. But you can also purchase it separately if you don't have the Stamparatus. But it is a very good substitute. It's been working great. A friend of mine, Teresa Granberry, decided to try it and it worked. So that's what I've been using here lately. Now I'm going to use the Thinking of You with All My Heart. I forgot to show you what all the products. This is the Ornate Thanks bundle. I'll show that to you real quick. This is something in the new catalog. Oops, what am I doing? That's not what This is what I wanted to show you. I'm using the Peaceful Moment stamp set. This is from the mini. You'll be seeing that other stuff here in a minute. Getting sidetracked. This is in the mini, but it's going to be in the new catalog. I love all the different greetings on this. There's such a versatile. You got birthday, sympathy, thank you, just so many different. Congratulations. I love this set. So what I'm using is the Thinking of You with All My Heart. I'm going to ink it up with my Memento ink pad. And it's going to be, I don't think there's quite enough room, so I'm going to raise it up a little bit. There we go. That's why I want this time. A lot of times I'll put the words on first, but the flowers I knew were going to be harder to get on there. So that's why I did that last. But isn't that a pretty font? I really like that. Okay, now we're ready to put this on the card. We could have put the greeting on once it got on the card base, but I think things stamp a lot better when it's just one layer. Put this on the card. And we are done. See, that didn't take long at all. So and you could put any greeting. That's with this being so big and white, you've got plenty of room to put any of those greetings in that stamp set. But that was a lot of fun. I just came up with this today. I'm going to look at your comments here. Tell you what, I will read them later. I don't want you guys all to sit here and wait for me looking at all your comments. So we've got this all ready to go. Now we're going to go. Now we're doing the Ornate bundle. This is the one that's going to be in the new catalog that Stampin' Up gave us 2 months ahead of time to be able to order it. I love it when they do this. They've been doing this last few years. This is the Ornate Thanks bundle. If you purchase as a bundle, you save 10%. And if you bought these separately, you'd have to pay extra. So I love all the different greetings on this. I love these borders. Now the ones we're going to be using is this one here and this one here. So those are the ones I'm using in this die set. And I'm using the Your Kindness is So Loved. So you don't have to use these big ones up here. You can just use one of the little ones too. I'm also using the Ornate Style bundle that's in the same suite. This is all from the Ornate Garden Suite. And I can't remember if I put a link to the Ornate Garden down in the description. I'll do it when the video's over. But I love these frames. Aren't they pretty? Let me get away from my watermarks so you can see them better. And we are going to be using this small one right here. And I think that's, yep, that's it. And this beautiful floral set. I love this. So I love how we've got a greeting to go along with it. And of course you can do this any other way. I did a wedding card and just posted that video yesterday. So you don't have to use the thank you. You can use this for any occasion. And if you missed that, I think I put that in the description. I'll make sure if I didn't, I'll put a link to that video to my wedding card. Okay, we are also using the rectangle dies, the stitch rectangle dies, and I'm using the second smallest. So it's this one right here. I love that these work with those layer dies. So if you've already got the stitch rectangle dies, you're set. If you don't, make sure you order them. You can order these now. Well, like I said, you can even get the Ornate Garden. That's right. I've been doing so many videos with the new stuff. I forgot about that part. One more Ornate Garden product. This is the Ornate Floral Embossing Folder. I have been using this a lot, not just with the Ornate Garden. I love this, and you'll see it in action here in just a minute, but it's a beautiful embossing folder. Okay, that's everything, the main products we're using. So we're going to grab, I'm using a new in color. This is the Bumblebee color. This was a color that's in the Ornate Garden Designer Series paper, and we were all wondering which yellow shade it was. Well, it's the nice bright one. This is so pretty. I'll do a video sometime comparing this with the other yellows, but it's definitely different. It's hard to tell in the video for sure. It's a real pretty yellow. I like this a lot. So we'll go ahead and fold this in half. Okay. Let's see. Then we're going to take this beautiful paper. I just love that paper. The colors are, oh, they're so pretty. And it is a specialty paper. I forgot about that. So it's got, this side's got the gold foil with the white. So this, we could even color this in if we wanted to, and it would resist the gold. Pretty cool. Here, let me grab this marker and show you, because you can do it with markers too. It doesn't have to be with blends. And you can even sponge it. So you see, I'm just coloring these in. They don't have to stay white. And you're still going to see that gold shining through. Pretty neat. Love the paper. But we're not using this side. So let's go ahead and put some snail on here. Oops, I'm ahead of myself. I was getting ready to put it on my card base. We don't want to do that. This is a 5 1/4 by 4 inch piece of mint macaron. And as you can see, I've already embossed it. All you do, if you haven't embossed before, is just put it in your folder. There is a nice line here that you can line it up to make it straight, but with this being random flowers, it really doesn't matter. You just want to make sure it's inside your folder. Then you run it through your die cutting machine, fold first. Okay. Now I want to put this on. Doesn't this look pretty on that mint macaron? I love it. These flowers have mint macaron as a background behind them. So it just goes perfect with that paper. That's what I love about Stampin' Up, how we've got everything that coordinates. And I'm going to use the daisy flower that's in the Ornate Style stamp set that goes along with these daisies. Looks like I made it a little too long, so let me grab my snips. Whenever that happens, sometimes when you emboss, it makes the cardstock shrink a little bit. So just turn it over, that way you can see the part that's hanging over, and just snip it off. Okay, now, oh boy, I forgot what I was doing. We're going to pop this off a little bit. I am so glad I used snail, because normally I use the multi-purpose glue, and I wouldn't have been able to get that off. You need a piece of 5 1/4 by 1 inch of Whisper White. This is, I'm so glad I remembered this. This is gorgeous. This is one of the border dies, and you just put it near the top and kind of center it, and you run it through your die cutting machine. You'll want to put it through this way. If you put it in this way, it's not going to cut very well, and it could hurt your die. So if you put it in like this, make sure it's straight. Then it's only going to cut this bottom part and the little ornate part here. It does not cut this top part, which you'll see why. And I'll show you, I did one ahead of time. This is what it's going to look like when you're done. So it's a nice thing here. All you have to do is put some snail across the top of this. And put your paper. I'm going to grab my, since I've got glue on here, I'm going to grab my silicone mat. I don't need it sticking on my paper. And this I'm going to do different. Normally I put this on the bottom. I've kind of got it this way to help me line it up better. but this time I decided to have the border go along the top. So, isn't that pretty? I'm so glad I didn't forget that. It just really sets it off. Now I'm going to grab my glue here because this really helps better when you're putting on emboss. So there we go. That's a nice thing about recorded videos. You can go back and edit out when you make a mistake, because believe me, I edit my videos a ton. I have a ton of bloopers. You can't do that when you're live, but that's okay. We're having fun. Hold that down. Isn't that pretty? I love that. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and put the greeting on. You take a little piece of Whisper White here. This one is, look at my right list here. I've got too many lists in front of me. 2 3/8 by 1. I know that's a weird size, but it works perfect with the greeting I'm using. I'm using, where did it go? There we go. Yeah, Your Kindness is So Loved out of that Ornate Thanks. I'm going to use my Early Espresso ink pad. And let me stand up here so I can see what I'm doing a little better. I am going to put this right on the top, like so. Kind of centered, that's good enough. But you want it at the top because we're going to put a little border on this. I'm having fun with these border dies. Oops, I had a camera fall down. There we go. Now we're going to use the narrow border here. And what you do, I made this wider than what you need it to, just a little easier to work with. So you're going to put it through your die cutting machine, but you want to get it straight underneath and run it through. And you're going to come out with this. Isn't that neat? So I could have made it even wider and kind of stamped this at the bottom, more in the middle, and done a border on both sides. But I wanted this to be like, to go on like this. So that's how we're going to put that on. I'm going to go ahead and do this with snail since we're not putting it on the embossed layer. And I'm just going to put it, line up the top edge with the top edge of the DSP. And DSP is Designer Series paper. If you ever see that somebody put DSP down, that's what it means. In that, I really like that. So we've got I'm showing off 2 of the thin borders. A lot of times I use the bigger ones, but I love the smaller ones too. Now we can go ahead and put this on the card. So get that glue all the way around it. Okay. And I'm sorry, I can see my Facebook ones, but there are a lot of YouTube ones. I am so sorry. I will come back, and like I said, I will answer any questions and comment in the regular comment section when the recording of this pops up. It'll pop up as soon as we're done. I won't be able to put it under the live chat because YouTube doesn't let me. I can read it all, but I can't comment. Hope they change that someday. Okay, so we've got that on there, and I will pin the comments at the top so you can just find them real quick. All right, now we're going to do some stamping. I just went ahead and die cut this out because it's pretty self-explanatory. You just get a piece that's a little bigger than this and die cut it out. Now you could stamp beforehand, but I didn't want to lug my die cutting machine over, so I'm going to show you that you can still, even if you die cut first, you can still use this. Center it pretty good because it's bigger than the flower, and that's, even though this is rubber, since I can see the outer parts of it, I can tell if it's going in there okay. There we go. See, that went in pretty good. So if you ever die cut something and forget to stamp, that's okay with this one. It works out fine. Now I'm using Stampin' Blends to color this in. As you can tell, I am in love with our blends. I'm using the Mint Macaron, Crumb Cake, and So Saffron because we don't have any Bumblebee Stampin' Blends, at least not yet. They're not in the new annual catalog either. Who knows, they might come out in a mini. But the So Saffron works very good with this too. It's real close. So I'm going to grab my dark one first, and I'm going to put it in different places where I want it to be dark, especially where I see those lines. I don't know if you can see the lines on that. So I'm just going to color these real quick. And when I color for a live, I make sure it's something small because it takes a while sometimes. And you do want to kind of go over it a few times because you want it to saturate the cardstock. So I'm going to go over it just a little bit because I can tell it needs to darken up a little bit. Here, I can get this a little closer too. I'm going to lose my chat here for a second, but I'll bring it back up. I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. It's a little too far away. There, that's a little better. Let me get my chat back up. There we go. Got that. I'm going to grab my light So Saffron. and color the rest of it in. You may not be able to tell, but there is some shading there. And you just color over the dark that you just put down too. That way it blends better. The alcohol lightens it up a little bit and it just blends perfectly. There we go. So now we've got our pretty daisy all colored in. Now I'm going to take the crumb cake. I'm going to do the dark one again. I'm just doing little dots. I want the center, well actually just the center. I'm going to do the center of it with the dark and then go over it with the light. And that does, hopefully you can see that. I think it looks kind of neat. It's got a little darker center and then lighter on the outer parts of it. Now the mint macaron, where this vein is in the leaf, I'm doing that with the dark. As you can see, I never make real straight lines. You don't, because flowers, the shading is not going to have a straight line. Then I'll go with the light macaron, mint macaron, get the whole color name out, Christy. And I'm going to lightly go over the stem. It's okay if you go out a little bit, but I want that stem to be green too. So there we go, all colored in. And let me get the screen back out again, because that's going to be too, you're not going to be able to, oops, wrong way. Hold on a minute. User error. There we go. Now we're going to take a piece of early espresso. This is 2 1/4 by 3 3/4. You put this in and you're going to run it through your die cutting machine, but you want to do it at an angle. I've learned this. My upline actually showed me how to do this. Sometimes when you put it in your big shot, if you notice, it makes cracking noises. And if you've ever have really big dies, especially like our rectangle dies, the bigger like this and the bigger ones, sometimes they start to warp. Well, if you put it at an angle, it's not going to warp, you're not going to get the popping sound, and you're not going to hurt your die cutting machine. So make sure you put it in at an angle like this so the point is going in first. And then you're going to come out with this beauty. Isn't that, I love these frames. There we go, you can see them a little better. And now I have used the smaller rectangle die and it fits perfectly inside here, but I wanted the bigger one for the flower. Now you can see it's a little bigger than this area here, but it still looks really pretty on this frame. So the first two, the smallest one and the second smallest one, really work good with this frame. Grab my snail, see how it and went through the paper. That's what you want. Okay. Maybe one of these days I need to get somebody in here to read my comments and be able to answer your questions during this. It is so hard to look at comments and make stuff. So we've got that right here. Oh, and speaking of comments, my YouTube went away again. Hold on. Every time I switch a screen, my chat goes away. Now we're going to grab dimensionals. Actually, let's grab some black ones, because this is darker cardstock, and the black ones hide perfectly. I am so glad we've got these black ones. It's a little fun fact for me. It made me excited. A couple years ago, I think it was, because they start doing catalogs about 1.5 to 2 years before it comes out. They've actually started working on, they told us yesterday, on the January to June 2022 catalog. So they have to start pretty early. I had a friend that had some, they weren't called dimensionals, but they were black. And I thought, oh, those are so neat. We were experimenting with them. I told Stampin' Up about them. Tanner Smiley contacted me, and they loved the idea. I gave them the information on it. I got a free stamp set out of the deal, and about 2 years later, we had them available. I thought they listened to us. I love being a demonstrator. There we go. So that card is all ready. I love the colors in this paper. Very nice and delicate looking card. Okay, now this one is has a little more to it. Let me get all this stuff out of the way because I'm going to need room for some other dies. I'm using the Honeybee bundle. This one is retiring. I was so surprised it was retiring because it actually sold out before during celebration, and I had a card that I wanted to make. I loved it. Then it wasn't available. I'm like, I'm not going to make a video for something that's gone. So I have held on to it. Then the paper I used, I'll show you here in a minute. I used the honey, I can't remember what the name of it was, but the celebration paper. oh, that's not available anymore. So I changed it out, and I'm going to show you how to make it with different paper. But now they're retiring it. It's like, ah. So if you want this bundle, it is still available. I checked. So you can get it before it sells out and before June 2nd. That's when it'll be gone forever. But shaker cards are a lot of fun. You need the, what are these called? Adhesive strips. They're foam strips. This helps a lot with making shaker cards. You can bend them, and you'll see that here in a minute. Here's the bundle I'm using. It's such a cute set. I'm allergic to bees, so I don't like the real thing, but I love this set. So I used both bee stamps and the hive and this here. I love how this goes right above the hive. You'll see that here in a minute. And the dies I'm using are these two bee dies, and this one, and the honeycomb. So get those out of the way. I think those are all the dies I'm using. Yes. I'm also using the brick and mortar embossing. This is 3D embossing folder. This is still available. It'll be in the new catalog. So glad. This is another one I use a ton. I am a sucker for embossing folders. Anybody else? They are so much fun. So this is a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of Whisper White, and that's with the bricks. As you can see, that's what makes it 3D. Some of the bricks are raised higher than the lower ones. So I love that. Then you need a piece of basic black. We're going to go ahead and do the card base, and then I'll show you the shaker card part. This is a piece of basic black, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 again. It's always a half piece of cardstock from an 8 1/2 by 11 piece of cardstock. Okay, so we've got that ready to go. Need 2 pieces of gold foil. They're 4 inches long, and I think I made them like a 1/2 inch wide, but you can make them a little wider if you want to. So you need 2 of these. I did this to save on foil, and you'll understand why here in a minute. And I'm using some paper that's retiring. This is from the Mosaic Mood Specialty DSP. One side, which I love this side, but it didn't work with what I was working with, shines. It's got some gloss to it, and it's got texture to it, so it is embossed. It's like clear embossed. And this is the side I'm using. So I'm going to put snail, grab my silicone mat again. Don't want to get it, because I'm going to be putting it right along the edge. I'm going to go ahead and go all the way down the edge here, because I want to make sure that gold foil stays on. We'll put the gold foil down, and I just want to have a little bit showing right there. That's the nice thing about this silicone mat. I can push down on it and it still pops back up again. And that looks pretty straight. So look, all of that gold foil that I saved, because the gold foil comes in 2 12 by 12 sheets, and I didn't want to use it all up. So that's the way that worked. Grab my glue, put it along here, and I'm going to put it across the bottom of my brick, near the bottom, not all the way. Okay, like so. And then we'll go ahead and put this on the card base. And then I will show you the shaker part. This is the fun part. I love making shaker cards. My next recorded video is going to be one that is a shaker card, but it's using our new jar of flowers, I think it's what it's called. And the shaker part is a mason jar. I loved it. If you remember our Still Scenes bundle from the holiday catalog, and we were able to make snow globes, and we had a perfect snow globe shaker part. This one is a mason jar. So if you like mason jars, you're going to like this set. So I'll hopefully have that up next week. So we've got the card base ready, so go ahead and put that to the side. Now I want a piece of 3 by 3 Whisper White. Oh, hold it here. I think that's what it's, yeah, 3 by 3. And what you're going to do, you put this, the hive right in the center and die cut that out. So you'll have this. Then we're going to keep that out because you're going to need that here again in a minute. I think, no, I'm not. That's just need to die cut that one. Then you take a piece that's a little bit smaller. This is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. I'm going to ink up the hive. Oh, I forgot to grab my ink pad. Hold on just a second, because I definitely need this. Well, you know what? We'll improvise. I can use my marker. Can't believe I didn't grab that. So yes, you can color on here with markers. Just a lot quicker with something this big with ink pad, but we can get this done quick. There we go. Now I wanted a little bit of an edging. I didn't want it to just be, I'm going to kind of go this way too, so it's not just straight lines. There we go. That looks pretty good. I'm going to grab a sponge dauber and my Poppy Parade, and I'm going to just ink a little bit of this Poppy Parade around the edges. Because the reason I'm doing this, I'm using the sequins that come in the Poppy Parade suite that are also retiring. And I wanted this to kind of match that. So now that that's all sponged, I don't know if you can tell, it's a little red on the, you'll definitely tell when I go to stamp it. So close to the center, hold it down. There we go. So you have like a two-tone effect. Now it does look better with the ink pad because you can kind of see the lines, but this is still going to be fine. It'll work fine. Okay, I want to make sure I remember how I did all this because it's been a while. I'm going to grab this one here. I'm going to turn it over, and I have a window sheet here. I'm going to put this right on here. So I think glue dots actually work better. Wait, take that back. Nope, we are going to want to use snail. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put some right across here, get close to the openings of this because I don't want any of my sequins coming out. Go right around here. I think I'll put a little bit right here, right here. So I have got snail going all the way around here. You could also use glue. Now I'm going to put the window sheet on. Just kind of center it. Okay. Now I am going to put these guys on. Now I do know that this is a little too long. I'm going to cut them a little shorter. Actually, let's go ahead and just take this whole thing off and let's see how it goes. I'm going to put it around this opening here. It's a neat, because we used to use dimensionals, but this is going to make it so it seals this whole thing with no problem, but it's bendable. But you definitely want to make sure it's not showing out the opening, so I'm putting it around. I'll get my fingers out of the way here in a minute so you can see a little bit. You can see how easy that's curling? So I'm making that nice little border around here. This might actually be perfect size. Not, I'm going to have to trim it off a little bit, but that's okay. Okay, so we've got that around here. I'm going to lift this up a little bit because it's a window sheet. It is going to help me a little bit. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and use up these little scraps I've got here to put it across the bottom. Just as long as they're right up against each other, it's okay that they're different pieces. I like to use all my stuff up. This one might be a little too long. Oh, that's okay. It's still within my white. You can't see it from the other side, so that's good. Now I'm going to grab these Peaceful Poppies sequins. That's the full name. Aren't those colors pretty? I love the gold and the everything in it. Got the Poppy Parade. I can't remember all the other colors. Now you don't need that many. We're just going to put a few in there. I might grab a couple more. Okay, so we've got those in there. Actually, take that back. This is the way I would do it if I didn't have an image behind it. Since I've got an image, I want to be able to line that up. Let's get those out of there. We're going to put them on top of this and just make sure they're within that hive. Doesn't have to be any rhyme or reason, just as long as they're inside. Oh, I'm sorry, getting out of the screen. There we go. Now I'm going to take the backing off. Comes off super easy. Okay. Could use my take your pick tool, but these are longer and they don't go all over the house. Okay, now I can put this on. Hopefully I'm doing this center pretty good. There we go. Oh, I forgot to stamp my greeting on there. We'll get it. I think I can still do it. You should have stamped the greeting first. Now that this is raised up, it may not stamp as well. I'll show you the good version. I told you, if you do things live, you make a ton of mistakes. And I've been doing this 17 years. Just celebrated my 17 years last month. Okay, let's see. Hold this down. Let's see if this stamps okay. Oh, it did. Yay! Wonders ever cease. Okay, so now we've got that already. Now you've got your shaker card. Isn't that cool? Now I could have just stopped there, but I wanted to put that honeycomb on there. So this is a piece of gold foil that's 2.5 by 2. You put this in here and run it through your die cutting machine. And it comes out like this. And all the pieces didn't come out, which is good because I wanted to show you how easy they are to take out. So I'm just taking my finger. And the reason I kept them in there too is I'm going to use a couple of these. So don't throw these away if you make this card. Okay. And then this fits pretty much right in there. Actually, I meant to put it underneath a little bit. That's okay. So we're going to put that on there. I kind of like it sticking out. I'm going to grab my fine tip glue pen. Now, I am so happy. We're going to have adhesive sheets again in the new catalog. And that's what I would use. And I will show you how to use those. Well, my glue's not want to come out. I've been using this a lot. I'm afraid. Oh, there we go. But in the meantime, I can use my fine tip glue pen. I'm definitely going to put it on the outer parts. I'm not going to cover up the whole thing. Here I'm concentrating a little bit. Sorry about that. I tend to stop talking when I'm concentrating. I think we're doing pretty good here. Okay. You get this just to angle pretty good. Oh, that fits. That looks good. Hold it down for a few seconds. I would do this. Boy, I'm so mad at myself. I did that wrong. I will hold this up. What I should have done was put this on the window sheet and then put the window sheet on here. And this stayed on perfectly. These little things tucked underneath and it didn't come off. This is, like I said, I made this back in January and I haven't made it since. And I knew I was going to mess up a step. So this one you want to actually put on the window sheet, then put the window sheet under here. And it works perfectly. So I'll go ahead and put this on the card though. We got most of it right. I want to have a black border here. So this is a 3¼ by 3¼ inch piece of black. Oh, and I want to show you this too. Like I said, I will show you the finished one. I thought that was a little plain just doing it open. So I actually put a few of these, oops, got glue on my fingers. A few of these in here like so. And you just fit them right back in again and it kind of gives it a neat accent. And they go in pretty easy. So there's a couple, and then I put one probably about over here. But it just makes it look like it's got some honey in the honeycombs. So that's what it'll look like when you get done with it. But we'll go ahead and take that off. Oh, I knew I'd do that. Now, I've got some white showing here. I wanted to show you that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to trim that off because I don't want that showing. I did make it a little smaller, but it's an easy fix. There we go, because I definitely wanted to get that hive centered in that window. And I'll put snail on just on this piece, this smaller square. Since this is going to be raised up, we don't need any glue on that. Put that on there. And then we'll put this on our card base. Just like so. There we go. So we've got our shakers and pretend that the hive is on there. There we go. Wish I had done that right. Hopefully that makes sense to you. If you have any questions, let me know. So I know that kind of, to me, in my head sounded like as clear as mud. So you might want to ask me any questions and I'll answer them at the end of the video. Now we're going to do some bees. We've got to do some bees. So I'm going to grab my Memento Black. There we go. I'm going to do both of the bee stamps. Ink them up. I'm going to do them like this because they fit a little better on the piece. Actually, I made this piece a lot bigger than we needed. But that's all right. You can just grab some scraps. Then you take a crushed curry Stampin' Right marker and just color in the little stripes. You could keep it just black and white if you wanted to too, but I wanted to get a little color on my bees. So there we go. Oops. So I even do the little ornate. Let me get this a little closer for you. The little ornate lines that are up here. So I colored those with the yellow too. Then you're going to grab these dies and they center nicely. You just kind of move it around till the whole image is, you can see it in that hole. Our dies are so much easier to line up now. And then you run that through your die cutting machine and you will come out with these beauties. I'm going to put these on with regular snail. I'm going to have to go back and fix this so I can give it to somebody. And I just put it on the center of his body. And if you wanted to, you can kind of curl these up for a little effect. And then I'm going to just do the center of this little bee's body. And it's going to go on like that. So we had to put some bees on there. So there's the card. And let me show you my first one. I actually like this one better because I thought that paper went perfectly with it. As you can see, the honeycomb is underneath the white a little bit. I had forgotten that step. So you attach this to the window sheet, and then you attach it to the under part of the white opening. So that's what it's supposed to look like. But this, see, that with the gold that was in the sequins, went perfect with the gold in the paper. That's why I used the gold foil. But we don't have, so if you have this paper, I would use this paper. But I still think that this one worked out just fine. If I put the hive better on there, it would have been a lot better. But that gives you an idea. So I think this still looks just as pretty. So those are the two different versions of that. So let me bring in all the cards I made. Hope you liked them all. Now next week I'll start making, well, I take that back. I won't be here next week. If you want to see a live, I'll be doing it in that online party. There we go. And if you, I had the information in the, at the beginning of the video. I'm sorry, I'm losing track of, messing up that card messed up my thinking here. I'll be doing a Facebook Live at the online party. I've got information in the events page on my Facebook page. And I don't know if I put anything on my YouTube. Go ahead and if you can, when we're done here, the video will come available again. Let me switch to me so you're not just looking at my hands. You've seen the pretty cards, so go ahead and switch here. Okay, but I'll put information in the description below. We don't have the group set up yet, but if you place an order by next Thursday, the 21st, you'll get an invite and use the host code that's in the bottom left corner. And I hope you'll join me. I'll send you an invite as soon as we've got everything ready. So I will, if you're not going to be able to come to the party, I will see you in 2 weeks. It'll be at 3 o'clock, 2 weeks from Friday. Not sure what date that is. It might even be June. I think well, we might be in June. That'll be the new catalog. I'm planning on doing some fun things on my page, Facebook page, and I'll try to do a YouTube Live together. We'll see how it works. I haven't figured it all out yet, but I will it'd be like a virtual open house. I'm not sure if I'll have anybody come over to my house in June yet. July will definitely start up again here at the house, but maybe at the end of June. But I wanted to be able to do a virtual one as soon as the catalog starts, so be on the lookout for that on my Facebook group page, and I'll talk about it in my YouTube videos too. So I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you in a couple weeks, or next week if you come to the online party. Bye.